Hello friends, welcome to our next video on plant pathology. In this class, we shall deal with the concept of morphology of bacterial cell. Before starting the topic, I would request you please do follow me on my Instagram account Time to be Intellectual and Facebook Time to be Intellectual, and please subscribe to my channel. Now we shall continue. A bacterial cell. See, bacteria is a unicellular organisms. Maybe it may appear in a colony, but it's a unicellular organisms. It contains a single cell, and the reproduction is also very simple in this. Some little complicated than a few things, but still it is very simple than the modern evolved species. So to understand everything, we shall know the morphology of bacterial cell. Let's see it. See, this is a typical bacterial cell. In this, I will try to explain you the things, that is the parts where it do appear, and let's understand the each part individually. See, cell wall. This is a cell wall. Above this cell wall, there will be a capsule, that is a slime layer, that is the capsule we call. Another layer will be present, that is a capsules, and the infolding is a mesosome. There is a cytoplasmic inclusions and the pili and the plasma membrane, and next cytoplasm, then the ribosomes, then the flagellum, and this is the basal body. These are the important parts of the morphological features of the bacteria. Let's see one by one. Okay friends, now let's continue with the cell wall. And cell wall is very important in case of bacteria. If there is no cell wall, then we can also call them as molecules of the spiroplasm and other things. So it is very important, and the typical example or the typical function for the cell wall is it gives the shapes and turgidity to the cell. And this cell wall is made up of a polymer, that is the peptidoglycan. It's a amino acid containing sugar polymer, peptidoglycan, or we can also call them as murine. See, it is very a complex form. It contains it is the polymer of NAM and NAG. Please do remember, this is a very characteristic symptom of the bacteria. It contains the NAM and NAG, and peptidoglycan is a polymer that is present in the cell wall. And these are the very important in generalized form. Now we shall see gram positive cell wall and gram negative cell wall. See, gram reaction. In the gram reaction, we have classified the bacteria based on the cell wall characteristics. So for the typical gram positive and gram negative, cell wall characteristics is very important. Please look into the image I am showing now. It will be very useful for you to understand the things. See, the left side one is the gram positive one, and the right side one is the gram negative cell wall. In the gram positive cell wall, the peptidoglycan percentage is very thick, positive. Now we shall see the gram negative one. In the gram negative one, we contain a thin line of peptidoglycan, and it contains the outer membrane, inner membrane, and in the outer membrane you can also see lipozymes and all, lipopolysaccharides and all. So the peptidoglycan percentage in the gram negative is very thin. That is the important characteristics of this. And the important functions, as I said, turgidity, it helps in the gram reactions, shapes, rigidity to the cell. That is the importance of this cell wall. Okay friends, now let's see the second one, that is capsule. Capsule is a loose envelope. It's a loose envelope present around the cell wall. Please look into this image. In this image, you can see a thick layer that is present around the cell wall. That one we call them as capsule. Loose envelope around the cell wall. It is extracellular. It is extracellular, not within the cell. It is above the cell, and a thick layer which has its own boundaries, and it is slimy or gelatinous polysaccharide. Usually it is a glucon, and in Bacillus it is of glutamic acid. In some Agrobacterium and all, it is a glucon one itself. And the polysaccharide that is exopolysaccharide that is present in this capsule. In general, we call exopolysaccharide as EPS. And in Erwinia, This EPS is the characteristic symptom of virulence. We determine the virulence of this Erwinia based on this EPS, and it prevents. Generally, what might be the characteristics of this capsule. They prevent the desiccation, and they help them to survive in the air. When it is in air stage, it helps them to survive, and such uses are made by these capsules. And moreover, there will be another thin layer that is a modified outer layer of cell wall, thin layer of exopolymer. This is polysaccharide. This is an exopolymer that adheres to capsule. They will be adhered to capsule, and such things we call them as slime layers. The difference between this slime layer and capsule is, the major characteristics is, slime layer is thick, capsule is thick and it has its own boundaries, but the slime layer is very thin that it can just be washed off easily. There are no such fixed boundaries to these slime layers, and Ralstonia use this slime layer as their carbon source. Okay friends, now let's see the next part. Next part is flagellum. Flagellum is very important as it is responsible for the locomotion of the bacteria. So this flagellum, it contains three parts, that is base, hook and filament. This flagellum is made up of a protein called as flagellin. This flagellin protein is very sensitive to temperature and mechanical damage. For any mechanical damage or for any temperature, this is very sensitive. And the movement of the bacteria through this flagellum depends on the chemotaxis. Chemotaxis means, friends, the movement of an organism, the locomotion of an organism depends on the concentration of the chemical. That one we call them as chemotaxis. With that mechanism, with the help of flagellum, bacteria makes a locomotion, especially in the soil-borne bacteria. The bacteria that survive in the soil will use these chemotaxis to move to certain place where it attracts. Like for example, if a bacteria favors a certain plant, then it start moving towards that plant. That characteristics is the chemotaxis. Chemotaxis is responsible for that movement. So that's all about the flagellum. Next comes the another part, that is fimbriae or pili. I have written fimbriae or pili because in earlier days we were calling this fimbriae as pili itself. Both the words were used, but nowadays the pili word is preferably used for the fimbriae or the pili that is involving in the conjugation, that is sexual activity of the bacteria. In the pili that is involving in such conjugations are called as sex pili. So this pili word is preferably used there. The remaining one we call them as fimbriae, but still both can also be used. The hair-like structure originating from the protoplast. The hair-like structure that is beginning with a protoplast, that is within the cell wall, cell membrane. Such protoplast is there. So beginning from that, it starts moving towards the cell wall. It breaks out and comes out through the cell wall. And such hair-like structures, all call them as fimbriae. During the forward motion, think this is a bacteria. It is moving in a forward direction. Then the pili or the fimbriae that is present will bend at an angle of 45 degree. They will bend at an angle of 45 degree for this forward locomotion. These fimbriae are present around the bacterial cell. There will be many fimbriae, but flagellum, it depends on which type of bacteria it is. Next comes the cytoplasmic membrane. It contains 10% of dry weight and 75% of the protein and 2% of carbohydrates. It is a phospholipid bilayer. We generally know how these plasma membranes will look like. It is a phospholipid bilayer and it is a semi-permeable membrane. We also call them as plasma membrane, and it involves in the acid-fast reaction, acid fast reactions, and also in the specific active transport system, some specific active transport system, and all these are plays a very important role as the semi-permeable membrane. And together with the cytoplasmic membrane and other parts of the cell except the cell wall, we call them as protoplast. Next comes the another part, that is a mesosome. Mesosome is one of the important part as they involve in the division of bacterial cells. As they involve in the division of bacterial cell, they are actually the infoldings of the cytoplasmic membrane. The cytoplasmic membrane will infold to form these mesosomes. Among them we have two types, that is, one is lamellar type, another one is the vesicular type. And this is all about mesosome. And let's see ribosome. Ribosome, we know how the ribosomes look like and how they are formed, a small one, the large one, and all, and they are mainly located for the protein synthesis in this bacteria. Now we shall speak about the genome of the bacteria. In the bacteria, as it is a prokaryotic organism, it does not contain a nucleus, either a nuclear envelope, any parts of the nucleus. They just contain a dispersed DNA, and that was confirmed by a test, that is the Fulgen reagent. It was used to confirm that the nucleus, the genome in bacteria is dispersed DNA, and this Fulgen reagent is specific for the DNA, and it was used to identify that. Finally we came to know that it is a dispersed DNA. Just in a bacterial cells, just the DNA will be contained like this. That's just the genome of this bacteria. Now let's speak about the plasmid. Plasmid is, we have something special about that because it is very important part and it takes a major role during the conjugation, during the tumor induction, and some other parts. Even in agriculture also, this plasmid is used for the biotechnological tools and many things. It has been extracted from an organism, agrobacterium tumefaciens, and it has a major role to play. But actually this plasmid is an extra chromosomal, self-replicating. It does not need anything to replicate. It is a self-replicating one, covalently closed circular DNA. See, if you can see like this is a plasmid. See, it will be like this. It is a covalently closed. It is not open and it does not have free ends. And you know, if free ends are present, what happens? So this is a plasmid, a typical plasmid in a bacterial cell, and it has a double-stranded DNA. It takes major role in the conjugation and the tumor induction. Next comes the vacuoles. Vacuoles are just cavities. They are cavities within the bacterial cell. Within the cavity, we have some fluid or some cell sap and other properties. Now it's time to speak about endospores. A bacterial cell, it is transforming themselves into a small or spherical resistant bodies. See, this is generally a bacterial cell. It will be transformed into a small spherical bodies. Such bodies are called them as endospores. This will usually take place when it is in an unfavorable condition to survive for a long period. This endospore formation will take place, and no plant pathogenic bacteria will involve in this endospore formation. Usually the Bacillus species, Clostridium species involve in the endospore formation. Usually they are rod shaped and they are endospore formers. And when the bacteria is in the state of total dormancy, completely dormant condition, and such state is known as cryptobiosis. Cryptobiosis is the state in which bacteria is in the endospore stage, which is completely dormant. Thus, I end this video. We have completed the bacterial morphological characters. Thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe, share, and comment. Give your feedbacks. Thank you.